Thank you everyone for joining us. I'm Linda Fitzgerald, an advisor with the SBDC, and we are here today for Shopify Basics, launching your e-commerce website. Thank you so much for joining us. This is the Shasta-Cascade SBDC, and we provide no-cost confidential one-on-one advisory services to entrepreneurs and small businesses in both Shasta and Trinity counties. We also offer no-cost and low-cost workshops and webinars just like this one. We're funded by the U.S. Small Business Administration and the state of California, as well as HSU. They sponsor us as well. So thank you everyone for joining us. And now I would like to introduce Megan to you. Megan is going to present our event today. Megan, please tell us about you.
Hi guys, it's great to be on with you guys tonight. I'm Megan and I'm an e-commerce specialist. This has been the bulk of my career. I've taken a variety of businesses online, everything from small mom and pop shops to handmade products to full-scale boutiques. I've even built sites for car part resellers. So everything you can imagine, I've taken online. I'm also a Shopify partner, which basically means that I'm more or less certified in Shopify and a developer as well. So tonight, I'm going to be taking you through all the steps in getting you up and going for a Shopify site. So my goal tonight is to really break this down into the basics. So we're going to be going into the first step, which is planning for your shop and what you need to be thinking about in order to prepare to get you online. Next, we'll be going over setting up your account. We'll be walking briefly through inputting your products. We'll be talking about collections, what they are, how you can use them, how they're helpful. We'll be looking at choosing a theme for your shop, as well as how to input that initial content. We'll be looking at updating your navigation and managing your orders. So once you're ready and live and orders start coming in, we'll look at Shopify's backend so that you can begin to get accustomed with it. And last, but certainly not least, we'll talk about actually launching your shop so that it's online and ready for users to be able to hop on and buy from you. So the first thing I want to cover is that the goal of this webinar is to help you get acquainted with Shopify. This is really Shopify basics. So we're not looking to master it. There's going to be a lot of stuff that Shopify is such a rich and deep tool that I was struggling preparing for this webinar to even get everything that I thought was essential for a basic run through of Shopify into this 2-hour period. And so the goal of tonight is to really just get an overview and give you almost a tour of Shopify and show you what's available and what's the bare minimum that you would have to do to get a Shopify course online. So by the end of this course, you will be able to effectively prepare for your Shopify site, as well as set up a very basic Shopify store and enable it to begin to start taking orders. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is planning and preparing for your Shopify shop. This is such a key part, especially if you are already an existing brick and mortar store. I have a lot of clients that when they come and are getting ready to go from brick and mortar to online, it can be really, really stressful. And so I just want to give you guys a few tips so that you don't get overwhelmed and you know exactly what you need to be thinking through before you start actually setting up your shop. So first off is, of course, the monetary side of things, right? There's costs associated with Shopify. So first off, Shopify itself, the platform itself does cost a monthly fee of a minimum fee of $29 a month. Then there's things like photography, all of the different assets that need to go into a website to make it look really great. And then there's potential app costs. One of the most popular, I would say, one of the most frequent costs that can be an additional recurring cost is if you need to sync up any inventory. So if you have a brick and mortar shop and you really need to take your current inventory management system and sync it to your online system so that you don't accidentally sell something online that's sold out in stores. That is a really common additional cost on Shopify. Those additional app costs are very unique depending on your store, your needs. We'll go briefly over the App Store and all of the various different things that you can do with Shopify, but those apps do tend to stack up in costs. And lastly, a cost associated with Shopify is if you choose to hire a designer and developer. Now, you can get online with Shopify without one, and that's what we're going to go through tonight, using Shopify's in-house basic themes so that you can get something up on your own DIY. But if you do want to go in, and we'll touch on this in depth later, if you do want to go and add any real customization or have something that's really unique to you and your brand, then of course the cost associated with hiring a designer or developer is something to consider. Now, I actually got this bit of advice. I heard it originally from one of our other SBDC advisors, and I just thought it was brilliant. And he had actually shared this concept of getting your website as far as you can. So, doing what we're about to walk through and getting up your basic Shopify site set up. And then at that point, hiring a designer and developer, that is one way that you can get those costs down because you've done a lot of the initial work for them. And then hiring someone to just go in and do those basic edits that you need done rather than putting the whole site together. Now, the next thing that you need to think about is your products, the products that are going to be going online. This is by far the #1 most stressful thing, especially for brick and mortar stores that I work with. It often stalls them out for months on end. And so I want to walk you through some of my tips and tricks to make sure that this is not an overwhelming process for you. So the first thing you want to think about is, of all of your products, which are the products that you think would really work well online? So that's the first kind of line of action, because there's certain things, especially if you think when you're in a brick and mortar at a checkout and there's all these little knickknacks or local maybe keychains or something at the checkout line, those things tend to probably not be the type of things that will work well on e-commerce. They might sell better, but maybe you don't want to deal with the shipping. It's just not really worth your time or energy for the low margin. And so that might be something you just decide, you know what, we're not gonna sell that online. The second thing I think really can cut down stress is to remember that you don't have to put all your products on day one. Shopify is fully flexible, and you can continue to add products every day if you wanted. If you wanted to start with 5 just to get yourself online and continue to add, there's stores that have thousands of products. So find a bite-sized number that you feel confident in getting online with, and then just continue to add products in the background. Now, the next thing that you want to think about with products is which ones you're going to start with, right? Because I just told you don't have to start with all of them. So which ones do we actually want to start with? Now, that I really like to look at the individual shop. What is your shop known for? If you don't already have a brick and mortar, what do you want to be known for? What are going to be your standout products? And those are the ones you're going to want to start with. The things that make you really, really unique, that can sell really well, that if you have a current audience that they're already buying a ton of. If you don't have a current audience, then really your standout products that you want to start with. Now, the other thing that I feel like, and again, this is really directed towards people with brick and mortars, because there's shipping is something that if you already own a shop, you don't have to worry about right now. Now, if you don't own a shop and you're just going strictly e-commerce, you've probably already thought about this. But for those of you who aren't used to shipping, just thinking through, okay, how will you account for those shipping costs? Now, we'll go over it, but Shopify does handle shipping for you, which is amazing. It's one of like the best features it has. It makes it really, really easy to purchase and purchase the stamps and ship. And also by using Shopify, you get discounted rates. So Shopify has a discounted rate for all of its clients. So you kind of get lumped in as if you're Shopify buying the stamps. And so you get their rates, which is amazing because if you're just doing it one-off, you can have shipping as high as $5 on something that would only be maybe $1 to ship on Shopify. So just thinking through, again, those additional costs and thinking through how you want to handle it, because there are a couple of ways that different stores, depending on your products, will handle it. One of those options is just setting a flat shipping fee and charging an additional $5 to $10, no matter what, no matter how much it weighs, no matter what the size is or anything, just, slapping a standard fee that's kind of like an average shipping fee. And in that case, sometimes you lose a little money on shipping, sometimes you get a little money on shipping, but that's one way. The way that I like to do it is certainly based on weight. Shopify makes that really easy to be able to when you put in your products, you can put in the weight and it will automatically generate what the shipping is for that weight. It's amazing. Which brings something to consider. And as you're, beginning to prep your products, one of the things you're going to want to be prepping ahead of time is getting your shipping weights. Now, this can stress people out, and I like to remind them that more often than not, I would say 99% of the time, your vendors are going to have that information. And so get with your vendors, see if you can't get a sheet of the items you have for them that includes their weights, because that will just save you a ton of headache and you won't have to weigh them personally. All right, and then with websites, we have the question of photography. Now, there are photos that go everywhere on the website. If you think about a homepage, there's often photos throughout the homepage. There's also photos for e-commerce that are the actual product photos. Now, this is, again, something that your vendors often will have. Unless you're creating your own stuff, if you're selling or if you're buying from someone, they often already have the product photos ready for you. And then often, if you ask them, many of them also have lifestyle photos that they're willing to let you use. And what lifestyle photos are more of the actual people in action, the actual photos you see on the homepage rather than the product photo that has the white background. So rather than just the shirt, it's a girl wearing the shirt, right? And so ask your vendors if there's anything that you can use. Now, if you don't have vendors, if you have a handmade product or a product that you've had manufactured yourself, then of course this is going to be something that you're going to want to consider. You're going to want to hire a photographer, if at all possible, to really give yourself the best shot online, because photography can be a real key in whether or not someone buys something and whether or not someone feels that your site is secure. If it feels really handmade and taken on your iPhone, your shoppers are going to pick up on that, and it. You've heard the eBay scams and all of that. It kind of like brings up those same emotions in them. So if there's any investment you can make, I would say definitely photography. If photography is not something you can invest a ton of money in, then I would suggest taking as best as you can in the best lighting that you can, taking photos of your products, and then hopping over to a site like Fiverr or Upwork to have people knock out the background of those photos and give it a nice clean white background, which you see in a lot of shops. All right, any questions so far?
I'm not seeing anything in the chat, Megan.
All right, feel free if you guys want to unmute yourself. If you have any questions, you can do so. Otherwise, we will just keep going on. All right, so we're gonna actually go ahead and head over to Shopify now. I wanna tell you guys, we're gonna go through this very quickly, and this is being recorded, and we are gonna make sure that you get this recording afterwards so that you can take it more step by step. But again, this is just like a tour of Shopify. We're not going too deep, but we're getting you enough information that you can go and set up your own shop yourself and get yourself online. Oops. All right, so the very first thing we have to do in Shopify is actually set up our account.
Excuse me, Megan.
So, yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but it just takes a little while for people to type their questions in the chat.
No problem.
Tara Rita has a question. It's how does Shopify compare with Amazon?
Yep, great question. So Shopify is a totally separate thing from Amazon. What Amazon is a marketplace. What Shopify is your own individual website. It's where people can go to yourbusinessname.com and shop all of your stuff. So nobody else's stuff is there, unless of course you put it there because you bought it from a vendor. So the difference with Amazon, because being a marketplace, what you have there is your, they have the actual search, right? So people can search for products, and if you've done a good job with your search optimization on Amazon, or there's not a lot of competition, then hypothetically your product pops up. And so there's already traffic on Amazon. The difference, or the caveat with that, there's traffic there, there's a lot of competition, but also Amazon's gonna take a big cut because they're basically acting as your sales associate. So with Shopify, you aren't getting any cut out of that. Shopify doesn't take anything from you except for credit card processing fees, which you would, spend anywhere else. But it is your very own website that you control the traffic going to. It is all, you decide what's going up. There's no competition there. You just are responsible for getting people there. Whereas Amazon already has some traffic, but of course you have the competition of fighting amongst other people selling similar products. Now, and I will also add that Shopify and Amazon, they are not an either or. It's not, do I go on Shopify or do I go on Amazon? In fact, a lot of people choose to do both. And a lot of people choose to do even more than that. I have clients that will go, they'll have their Shopify store, and that's where you want to push. If you have social media or any organic traffic that's coming because of you and your personal efforts, you want to push them to your own site because that's where you're going to make the most money. That's where you're going to get the best margin. So they'll push all their traffic from social media to their Shopify site, and then they'll also have their products on Amazon. Now they're making less margin, but at least they're getting some organic traffic that they didn't have to work for to get. And then they'll also put it, like Walmart now has a marketplace. You can put stuff on Walmart.com. You can put stuff on Etsy if it's a handmade, if it falls within their category. And so it's not an either or. I definitely suggest if you have the margin where that Amazon makes sense and you have the time to commit to getting your search optimization really up and going for Amazon, then I would suggest doing both if you have the capacity. And that all of your organic traffic that you're working for, that you're pushing to Shopify, and that you're really working the search engine optimization for Amazon. All right, any other questions for now?
That is it for right now. I'll let you know as we get them. Thank you, Megan.
Awesome. All right, so in order to set up your Shopify account, the first great thing about Shopify is they do have a free trial period. So you have no risk. You can try it for 14 days. And sorry, I went a little fast. You can try it for 14 days, and if you don't like it, if it's just, you can't figure it out, too much work, then you don't have to move forward with it. You can get your whole entire store set up without ever paying a dime, which is great. So you'll just come to shopify.com, click the start the free trial, input your information, and click create your store. And it's gonna create a store for you in the background. Now, I've already gone through that process in preparation for tonight, so I won't walk you through that. Some of the things that we'll ask is your address. They have to have that on file to make sure that you get paid. So that's super important. Don't put a fake address. I know I had a client once that was super worried about putting their address on the end of emails. So if you know what the Spam Act, you have to put your address at the end of emails, and she just was so freaked out by it. But Shopify's not doing anything with your address. It's not public unless you want it to be. And so if you're working out of your home, it's strictly for getting you paid. So make sure that you don't put a fake address in like she did with her emails, because that can affect your payment. So let's see here. Speaking of payments, when we get in and we set up our account, I just want to give you like an overview of some of the settings that you're going to immediately want to come in and change and update. The first and foremost is payments, which we were just talking about. So even though they're asking for your address at the front, and it's a little confusing because they put a tag that says something to the effect of, we ask this so that you can get paid. It doesn't actually set up your payment. So you actually have to come in here and set up your payment. You will set up an account with Shopify Payments, and then they also offer various other payments. So like PayPal, they have Amazon Pay, as well as you can, if you have a third-party provider or alternative payment methods, there's a ton of options as far as payment goes. But the very first thing you want to do is make sure that you set this up. Now, you will also want to keep this while you're in development mode, in testing mode. So this will pop up once you've completed the setup, which I won't do right now because it requires a bunch of bank account information. There will pop up and it will automatically be in testing mode. And so you'll want to keep that in as long as you're developing, and then once you're ready to go live, of course, switch it out of testing mode. The next thing that you want to make sure that you don't have to, this is just to make you aware of what Amazon can do. So Amazon does have built in all of their themes that we're going to go through, they do have customer accounts built in. Now, I want to say right here, you can go and purchase Amazon themes, Shopify themes outside of the Shopify theme store if you wanted to, if you found one you really loved. If you want customer accounts, which means that, they get their login, they can go see their orders, they can check their tracking, all of that, you're going to want to make sure if you buy a theme anywhere else other than Shopify, you're going to make sure if that's something you definitely want, you're going to need to know that that's included with that theme, because not all custom themes include the functionality for customer accounts. So you can leave them disabled, you can make them optional. I'm sure you're familiar with this checkout process. You check out somewhere and it says, do you want to check out as a guest, or would you like to create an account? Or you can make them required, where they actually have to give you their email and set up a password in order to be able to check out with you.
Megan?
Yes.
Can you jump back to what you just talked about? What do you recommend? I mean, there are choices there, and for me, I love for people to be able to capture emails. Mm-hmm. What do you recommend to people that you're working with when they're setting up in this particular section?
Yeah, so I will say this isn't the only way that you can capture emails. So you can still, when a customer checks out, it's going to ask for their email. It's going to ask if they accept marketing, so that you can add them to your actual email list. What I highly suggest doing optional. The reason being, if you make it required, you're going to have people who just don't want to deal with going through the account setup, and they might abandon cart. If you make it optional, they can quickly choose the checkout as guest. I know I personally choose checkout as guest every time. What's beautiful about this is that Shopify, at any point, you can go back and create an account. And so Shopify will know your email. And if you go and create an account to go check your orders, even if you checked out as a guest, you're going to be able to pull those old orders as long as you create your account with the same email. So I definitely like to do optional. I think it's a really great customer experience. I know I like to go and track my packages. And so they're able to track the packages, make sure they actually ordered it, because I've had that happen before. Something doesn't show up for weeks and I go and look and realize they never actually checked out. So I that's my personal preference and what I suggest. So
thank you. That's really helpful. I appreciate that.
yeah. All right. The next thing that we want to just take a short glance at is taxes. Now, I'm going to assume that all of you are located in California. When you put in your store's address, it is going to set up your tax regions for you. So it just automatically makes assumptions based on what state you live in. If you have any weird stuff going on tax-wise, or like if you have stores in multiple states, I would definitely talk to a tax expert to figure out how you need to set up this tax section. So it's not normally an issue for people. Again, if you don't have anything funny going on, if you're just living in one state, then that's going to automatically populate for you. But if there's anything weird or anything you have questions on, definitely go ask a tax expert, because you want to make sure that you are doing everything on the up and up and that you are covered. The other quick thing to just mention is this locations. If you do have multiple locations, something that Shopify allows you to do is set up multiple locations and actually you can actually set up your inventory to track multiple inventory SKUs dependent on where the location is, which is really, really cool. Now, one thing I want to go over is gift cards. Gift cards is a really exciting option. A lot of people really want to have gift cards. Gift cards on Shopify are not included with their basic plan. And so if that's something that you want to include, then you're looking at $79 a month rather than the $49 a month. I'm sorry, I'm actually going to double check that real quick. Yeah. So I mean, rather than the $29 a month. So you'll see that's kind of the difference. That's one of them. Oh, you know what, guys? They made a change. This is a brand new change. That's super exciting because I hated that about Shopify. So Shopify now includes gift cards in all of their packages, which was great because that was a major pain point for clients in the past. So if you want to enable gift cards, you just come in here and set up exactly how you would want that to be. You can actually also enable Apple Wallet passes, which is super cool. Shopify has a lot of flexibility. Now, with gift cards, I highly suggest, since they are in the basic plan, turn them on. Like, it doesn't hurt to have gift cards on, and I've seen a lot of clients do a lot of cool stuff with gift cards, especially when we get into discounts. You can set up like a buy X get Y, and so I've had a lot of clients use that, like, you know, spend $100 and you get a $50 gift card. I mean, that's probably outrageous. Like, that's an outrageously good deal, but get a $5 gift card. But anyways, it can be a really great marketing tool, but also, you know, just having that available on your site is great for anyone who might want that. You might be surprised who might be putting gift cards to your site on their Christmas list. All right, and now the very last thing I want to go over here, there's a lot of, I'm skipping over some. The things I'm skipping over are kind of in the weeds and stuff that you're not really going to touch, of course, like legal. Though, well, you actually do touch legal because you, if you ever need to update your privacy policy or anything like that. And many of these you won't really be going into. And so the last thing I want to go over is your plan and permissions. So if you have a staff, this is really an awesome thing that Shopify does. If you have any staff members or anyone, like if you hire a web designer, or anything like that, you can actually sign up or give them a staff account and manage their what they're allowed to see. So let me just put a fake staff member and show you. We just uncheck this full permissions, and we're just going to go through and you can give them options. You know, if you only want them to have access to, let's see, like your online store. If you say you bring in a blog writer and you don't want them to see how much money you're making, you don't want them to see the orders, you don't want them to be able to mess with the design, you can just allow them to have blog posts, and it creates a separate login, which is really great because that means that you're really secure. So you're not having to share passwords with everyone on their mother to try to get some help on your site. Another thing, if anyone's a Shopify partner, they can also ask to be a contributor on your site, which means that it will not take a staff spot, because there's only so many staff spots that come with the basic plan. Right, and that is kind of like the basics as far as getting you set up and getting all the little pieces in place in order to get to the fun part, because that's not the fun part. So are there any questions on the setup process?
We don't have any in the chat right now, but I do realize it takes people a minute or two to type, so we'll give them a moment to do that. Megan, can you talk for a little bit about if someone has never had a site before, can you talk a little bit about taxes and where the money goes and how it gets paid? Because that was new when I heard it. It was really helpful information to know.
Yeah, so with these taxes, what it does is it adds the tax to the customer. Now, I'm sure you have checked out at a shop or at a store online before, and you buy a shirt for $10, and of course when you check out, it's going to say $10 and then your taxes, you know, a few cents on top of that, and your total is actually $10.95 or whatever it may be. So that's what Shopify is doing with those taxes. Now, when it pays you out, when Shopify pays you out, it will actually give you a report. First off, it pays you out everything. So it pays you out the taxes it collected from your customers, and it pays you out, you know, the actual cost of the item. So you get the full $10.95 minus the credit card fees, of course. So it's your responsibility to actually take those sales and use taxes. You actually need to have a tax account with your county. Is it the county here? I think
I'm not sure how it's, I thought it was through the state, but I might be wrong.
Yeah, I think it's the county clerk where you can set up your used sales tax account. Okay. No, you might be right. It might be the Secretary of State. I'm so sorry. We have brilliant advisors that know all about taxes. I am not a tax expert, but there's somewhere you can get a used and sales tax account. You need to get that with your state. And then what Shopify does, it collects those used and sales tax directly from the customer, and then it's your responsibility to go and pay that. What Shopify is really great about is it does give you a report. So you know exactly how much of the money it's paying out is tax money that needs to go to the state. And then those are taxes that you need to pay on a quarterly basis.
Thank you. That's really helpful. And we have not seen any questions come in since then, so we are ready for you to move on. All
right. All right. So let's get into the actual building of the website. So you'll see I've already put in a fake product here, but when you come to set up a product, this is actually going to be blank, and you'll have a button much like this around here that says add a product. So I just wanted to take you through kind of the different pieces of a product and why they're important to fill out each of these little sections. So first off, you have your basics, right? This is pretty standard. You have the name of your product, and let's pull up an actual live product on a so that you can kind of see it live. All right, so this is going to be your name of your product, right? You have your description, so you'll often see that right here when you're shopping online. You have your photos, of course, know what it is that they're buying, your price, like these are all pretty rudimentary, like straightforward things. Now, if you're on a SKU system, Shopify does support SKU as well as barcode, so you can input those here in order to track your inventory. But Shopify also has an internal inventory that you can use that's just native to Shopify, where you can set, hey, I have 7 of these available, and Shopify is actually going to keep track of that for you. So every time someone buys, it's going to -1 from that. Anytime you can actually, if you look over here, now this is a little deeper than we're going to go tonight, but you can put in purchase orders, or you can update your inventory easily and quickly right here. So anytime you buy, you can just go in and quickly tell Shopify, hey, I bought new inventory, so you need to add to this inventory. And so the other thing is, so once it hits 0, Shopify can do one of 2 things, and it depends on what you want it to do. So 1, you can continue selling when out of stock. So that means even if you have none on hand, Shopify is going to keep selling on through, and your customers won't know that you're actually out of stock. I only suggest this if you have like a quick turn time, like if it's a handmade product and you can, maybe you have the fabric, you just don't have any that are sewn currently, then you can maybe, continue in selling out of stock. But typically I like to leave that off, because you certainly don't want to end up in a situation where you will, you're out of stock, someone's selling through, and then it takes your manufacturer 2 weeks longer to get the stock, and then all of a sudden it's been a month and the person still doesn't have it and they didn't know you were out of stock. Another option that I've seen a lot of people use as well is once that inventory hits 0, they will flag. Now this is a custom integration, or you can of course go in and update your description, but it's a little bit of a pain to watch your inventory. But they'll throw a flag that says, hey, this is on back order. You can expect it, in a month rather than a week, and put it in red so that they can see clearly when they're purchasing it, that it is on back order. So that's another use of potentially using continue selling when out of stock. Then you have your shipping information. This is where you're going to put your weight, so that shipping can be automatically figured. Now, if you're just using flat rate shipping, this doesn't matter too much. And then lastly, you can put in your variants. So variants can be a little bit confusing on Shopify. They start out easy. I think where it gets confusing is when you've already saved your variants, going back and making edits to those variants, Shopify gets a little funny with it. And so I would suggest just thinking through your variants before you go ahead and click save, and making sure that you have everything considered. So for example, say we have a dress and we want your sizes are going to be a variant. And then maybe the same dress comes in multiple colors. So we'll give it a variant of blue, and we'll give it a variant of green, right? Shopify is going to automatically figure this out once you can see it right here. And we can update the inventory based on, of course, having a small in size blue, you're going to have a different number small in size blue than a small in size green, right? So you just update the inventory based on the SKU. Let's see. Now, this is the stuff that people ignore right over here, this organization, that people like to ignore, and it's actually super, super important, especially when it comes to setting up your shop. So you want to fill out these. The only one that it doesn't always matter is vendor, but you want to fill out your product type, and you definitely want to add tags. So just to walk you through why, I'm going to pull up this site. If you see here, this is pretty normal nav for what you're used to seeing on an e-commerce site. So you have your clothing, your tops, your jackets, your bottoms, right? In order to, like under here, so we have short sleeve. right? In order for Shopify, which this is a Shopify site, in order for Shopify to pull all of these short sleeve shirts, it needs to know it's a short sleeve, right? And so this collection is actually a smart collection that's saying, hey, Shopify, pull all of the shirts that are of type short sleeve. And so you want to put that there. Now, I like to say, people ask all the time, okay, what do I put for product type? You don't put clothing, right? You want to go broad, but you don't want to go that broad. So you might want to put tops, depending on how you want your nav to look and how many products you look. And when I say nav, I mean navigation. So this navigation at the top. And so you kind of want to think through that and think, okay, for example, let's just look at Lily Pulitzer. She has a ton of dresses. They have a ton of dresses. That's like what they do. And so they have over here, not just dresses, they have shift dresses, A-line dresses, fit and flare dresses, fitted dresses, right? And so I would suggest for her that she actually put the type as the type of dress, because they have so many different dresses and we can actually aggregate all of the dresses down the line. So just think about like what is going to be the easiest. Like if you label this as tops rather than short sleeves, is that going to affect how you want to organize your products in the future? Vendor straightforward. It's whatever brand created the thing. If you don't have to use your vendor. In fact, this is out of all the organizations, this is the one they use the least. It often shows up when you see people wanting to shop by brand. And then tags. Now tags are super important for your more kind of niche down specific organization. So you see these example tags right here. These are actually really great examples. So say you want like, and if we pull up, let's see, right here, vacation shop, right? Say you want something that's vacation shop on your actual navigation. It's going to be right here in your tags that you're saying, hey, I want to tag this as vacation shop, so that we can then go and create a collection that pulls all of the items that are tagged vacation shop. And so I tell people, okay, another tag that is super useful is women, like women's, men's, baby, kids, even your more broad topics. Now you can have as many tags as you want. So, you know, just think about anything that you might want to eventually organize a particular product on and give it a tag. Now we don't have any tags on any other products right now. I don't think, let's see if it'll, but once you have other products with tags, those tags will auto-populate so that you can go ahead and make sure you're selecting the same tag so that everything in Vacation Shop is named the same and you don't end up with some named Vacation and some named Shop, of course. So once you have your product, all you have to do is, well, we got to give it a name. All you need to do is click Save. And there you have it. You've input your first product. Now, before we take a quick break, if you have any questions brewing up, go ahead and start chatting those. We're just going to hit one more thing before we hit questions, and that is collections. So this is what I was talking about with those tags, with the types. This is really where those are going to come in handy. Now, what collections are really this page, for example, is a collection. There are these special pages on e-commerce shops that aggregate anything within a given collection or subset. And so you actually have to set these up. It's not smart enough to know that you want a page created for t-shirts. You actually have to tell it, hey, I want a page created for t-shirts, right? So you set up this collection. I almost always set it up as automated. The only time you'll want to set it up as manual is if it's something like, you know, like a summer edit or a very specific thing that you maybe only have a few products on, that you don't want anything accidentally added, you don't want anything accidentally removed, you just want to make sure there's no change, it's not dynamic at all. That's when you'll use manual. In order to, or if you, in general, you're going to be using automated, which is going to pull any products with a certain tag, which is why, you know, those tags are so important, because you can set it up. Any product that's tag is equal to, let's see if it'll let me, dresses. Or you can say, you know, there's other conditions you can say as well. Product tag is only going to be equal to, but price you can say equal to, not equal to, greater than, less than. You know, if you wanted to do like items under $10, then you would say price of product is less than $10, right? You can do product type. So product type is equal to dress, and so on and so forth. So now you only want to do one per collection. You can add more conditions to niche it down more. So product tag, that's a dress, and it's also short sleeve, for example. And then that collection would be short sleeve dresses, right? But typically you're probably just going to stick to this, and you're going to be living primarily in type, potentially vendor. Like if you sell Nike shoes, you're going to want a page for Nike. And so, you know, saying vendor is equal to Nike, and so on and so forth, or this is a vendor we already have in. So that's how you set those collections up. Now we'll go over in shortly how we're going to actually get those onto the shop and make those collections shoppable. But that is by and large why tagging your products and thinking about your organization is super important, because you can actually set up these smart filters to be able to aggregate all of the products that should be going into these kind of boxes together. All right, so let's take a quick question break.
Okay, let's give Megan a chance to get her breath here and get a drink of water if she needs it. So right now, just so all of you know, we love it when you turn your mic on and talk with us. Because what's so wonderful right now is Megan's giving examples of dresses, but she would love to talk about what your business type is. And you're welcome to enter your business type in the chat so she can give examples of your type of business. And maybe you don't even have a product yet. And that's fine too. Tell us what you're thinking of doing. So feel free to turn your mic on. You can do that by putting your mouse in the lower left-hand corner of your Zoom window, and you'll see a little microphone. You can click on that. Right now, there's going to be a red line through it. And if you have any issues turning it on, I'm able to do it here. You can just send me a note or put a note in the chat, and I'd be glad to turn your mic on for you. And it's a wonderful opportunity to have access to Megan, because she does this, and she is here to help you. So let us know what your business types are or what questions you have so far. We have a quiet group today, Megan.
Yeah.
This, for me, Megan, I have not seen this before. It is so interesting. And because I've navigated websites, it's really fun for me to see what's happening behind the scenes and how people are setting things up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Shopify, when it comes to like behind the scenes, like what's going on in the background, it is by far, like, it is so robust in the options it has and the flexibility it has compared to some of its competitors. It's really crazy what all you can do on Shopify, because that's what it's built for. You know, you have things like Squarespace and WordPress, enabling shops on WordPress with WooCommerce, and those can be great solutions for some companies, but those things weren't really built with only e-commerce in mind, which is what Shopify was built for. So it really shows in the back end of what's going on and how it's set up. You know, you can't go build a regular site on Shopify. It's not meant for that. It's meant for e-commerce. So the tools, every tool you could ever need is right there.
Can you speak a little bit to someone who wants to do a Shopify site? Maybe they're not real technical and they're wondering, you gave this great advice before of create as much as you can and then hire a pro to help you. What is the learning curve for someone to get comfortable in Shopify?
I would say significantly less than it is to get comfortable in something like WordPress. If someone has experienced WordPress before, or even Squarespace, they could both have pretty high learning curves. Shopify, I have had some pretty technically challenged clients in the past, and nobody to date has had real issues with figuring out how to edit things. One of the greatest things about Shopify is that it's really hard to break your design. Whereas some of the other website builders out there, you can go and edit something and all of a sudden the text is over here when it should have been over here, and it goes all pear-shaped on you. But Shopify keeps everything, they've made it really, really simple. Everything's kind of form-based, and managing your orders is just very cut and dry. As far as user experience goes, it's kind of unrivaled. So it's the bulk of the tech part is actually in this setup, which we're walking through, and making sure your orders are tagged. That's probably the most confusing part about Shopify, and that's e-commerce in general, making sure that things are tagged in a way that you can organize them on your actual site. But that's about as bad as it gets. So the only thing with Shopify is that because it is so geared towards user experience and people who don't have maybe the tech background or design background, that also means that in order to change anything or get super flexible, that you actually have to use code. And so if you want to do something super crazy than what's out of the box with Shopify, you would have to hire someone on to do it. So it's really interesting in that it's one of the most flexible platforms, because your developer can go in and change anything from a code standpoint, and add flexibility, add functionality. If your theme doesn't already provide something you want, like say a theme comes in, it doesn't have a newsletter block. Well, that's something a developer can easily build out. So it's flexible in that sense, but of course you as a user, it's not as like drag and drop as maybe something like Wix or Squarespace might be.
When someone chooses to use Shopify, is it kind of a complete package where everything they're going to need for the entire process start to finish is part of Shopify? Will they ever need to buy add-ons for it?
Yeah, so that's something we'll go into towards the end. For the most part, everything you need is there. I mean, I touched a little bit on the front end, that if you have a brick and mortar and you're needing to sync inventory with your brick and mortar, that is a potential add-on. But as far as, Shopify itself, it does everything from allowing, getting your site up, allowing the customer to buy from your site. You can do, we'll go through doing draft orders and those various types of things. It collects the payment, it pays you out, you can buy your stamps to ship it. You can print them directly from Shopify, stick them on your package and go. So it's pretty much all done for you. Now there's a ton of custom functionality that you can add. And again, this is like this is the functionality I'm speaking of is going to be functionality that doesn't require code, and that's in the form of Shopify apps. So that's code that someone already went and wrote, so that it's easy to just click the install button, something like Chatbox, for example. You can go and install a chat box, a live chat feature, which you've seen like in the bottom of screens that'll pop up and say, hey, do you need any help? And people can, chat back to you. Now, there's all kinds of features you can add like that. Some of them are free, like there are chat boxes that are free, and then some of them are paid, like a wish list, for example. If you want to incorporate a wish list, there is probably 100 apps on the Shopify App Store that can allow you to enable wish lists on customer accounts so that they can save the things that they want to purchase for later. But that is going to be an added cost. So anything extra that's not vital is often an added cost, but everything that's necessary is included in Shopify.
And we don't have any questions right now. So thanks, Megan.
All right. Well, we will get into actually setting up our shop then. All right. So when getting ready to shop or set up your shop, we're going to go to this online store over here. And the very first thing we want to do is pick our theme. So what do we want this shop to look like? Now, I suggest, if you're going to DIY this and you don't have a design background, then I suggest finding a theme within Shopify that, on their platform itself that you like the look and feel of completely out of the box. That you're like, I love this, I can put my content into it, and I'll be perfectly happy if it looks exactly like this, because then, that really takes a lot of the guesswork. And if your background's not design, Shopify has these really great themes that look great out of the box, but if you start adding and moving stuff around, they can look not as great. So I highly suggest just keeping the theme kind of as is if your background isn't design. And that's going to, just really keep it looking really professional. A professional designer did design that theme, and make sure that your user experience is great, because design is a big thing in keeping people on your site. It's something like up to 60% of people will leave if they don't have a good user experience, or if a site is not appealing design-wise. So it's certainly important. So we're going to come down here now. You'll see right here, there's this Explore Free Themes. I do not suggest going here because it doesn't actually give you a demo. Like, all it gives you is this picture. And so you want to go to Shopify Theme Store. Now, this is going to be a mixture of free and paid themes, but all your free themes are here, and you can actually view them more in depth. So let's see if they, and by product. So if you have food or drink, it's great for small inventories, fun and lively, industry, you can go and say, let's look at all the ones that were built for fashion. And then over here, you can say, I want to see only the free ones. Of course, if you want to look at their paid ones, they have a bunch of paid options. They normally sit at that $180 price point. But we'll use a free one for now. And their free themes, they have a lot of great ones that really do a good job. So we can actually come in here and click this, and we can click View Demo. So you can actually see this as a live site, and you're going to want to look through it as a live site and make sure you like it. Look at all the other options, see what's out there. But we're going to say, okay, this is great. I want to add this as a thing. Now, one thing to note too, the premium themes, what I love about Shopify that I really haven't seen anywhere else, is that they actually let you trial the premium theme, so you can build your whole site on that premium theme, get it exactly how you like, and you don't have to pay until you push that live, which is awesome. But we'll add this one for now. All right, now here you will get to see, so we just downloaded the Brooklyn. So the first thing we want to do is actually, it's loading. Let's let it load. Oh, the perks of doing it real time. All right, here, actions, and we're going to click publish. So this is going to actually make it, like publishing this new theme we just downloaded, it's going to make it our primary theme. That's, if we click preview, is on our site. So I should say, Shopify, before you go live, is going to give you a temporary domain. If you purchase a site through Shopify, you actually get a premium domain with your purchase, so you're like standard.com. But it will live here until you're ready to push it live. So when we're ready to customize, now this is what I'm talking about making sure you like something out of the box, because you can get a really great looking website that looks like it was professionally designed without having any design experience if you just don't try to mess with this too much. So Shopify is amazing in how you're able to go in and do things. Like I mentioned, it's really hard to break a design. So if you go into the slideshow, you can see, I'll just give you a quick tour of some of the custom functionality. Let's say we just want to edit this first slide. You see there's a few slides. There's some different options that you can kind of mess with, but again, I just suggest leaving it with the base. It's hard to mess up. And then you can upload a photo, click select. Let's say we want to change, this is the new text, and give it a button. Let's see. It's gonna go. All right. And then we see this very first slide, everything goes in just like that. So that's as easy as it is. Like, you don't have to drag around stuff. You don't have to try to get into this, at all. It's just, putting your stuff over here, and it's going to automatically update that design for you, so that you don't have to worry about, kind of the technical pieces of what goes into web design. And all of these little components are going to work much the same. So you'll see it goes down, it's going to be in order right here of how it shows up on the page. So the first one being this slideshow where you can put multiple photos. The second one being this rich text area where you can come in and you can say, hey, here is some info about my shop. So you can see everything stays exactly where it's supposed to stay. Nothing goes pear-shaped or wonky. It's just super user-friendly in that sense. I have used a lot of website builders. I use a lot of website builders. And when it comes to clients who are on like WordPress or Squarespace versus clients on Shopify, I hardly ever trust my clients that are on WordPress or Squarespace. I don't trust them to edit their own site. I put them on maintenance plans and have me edit it because it's so easy to mess up your design. But my Shopify clients, I'm like, go for it. You can change anything, and it's really, really hard to mess up. So there is the ability to like add different sections. There's a bunch of sections that come with themes. Like if you wanted to add a map that shows your store hours, this is a possibility, but again, I would not go crazy adding different sections and stuff, because these different sections can affect the overall look and feel of your site, and you can end up with something that looks way wonkier than you originally intended. The one thing I want to touch here is that under the header is where you're actually going to put in your logo, and then let's see, and then that's it. You can have some themes use this announcement bar, so you can toggle that on or off, show announcement, don't show it. Hey, this is a great place for deals. We're giving 10% off this week. Use code YAY. Well, the code won't have an exclamation point, but at checkout, right? So this is a really great way to, kind of announce things, right? So whether it's a sale or a discount code, not all themes have those, but the ones that do, I tend to like to use, to keep those on and use those to drive traffic. Next, we're going to briefly touch on the theme settings. Now, again, if you feel totally confident to move forward with design, then you can adjust the colors, you can adjust the typography, and adding photos to some of these other pages. If you are not confident with design, then I would skip all of that and I would just go straight to social media. You're just going to want to make sure that you put in, if you have them, that you put in your social media accounts pages, so that wherever there is social media, like there's often social media in the footer. I don't know that we have it enabled. Some themes will automatically, there it goes, right there. Now, as you can see, if this is not populated, it's not going to show up. But if you are on social media, I highly suggest, populating these and letting those pop up wherever they're going to pop up across the site. But that should really be the only thing that's totally necessary in the theme settings. And then to get back to your site, you just click this little Shopify button. And that's it. Like, that's as easy as setting up your actual Shopify store goes. Now, the one thing I haven't touched on, because this customization actually just handles this home screen, right? But what about actually getting to your products? Now, that is where this navigation comes in. So how we set up our navigation is we're going to come over, we're actually going to come out of the website editor, and we're just going to go down to navigation. And we're going to come to main menu or footer menu, depending on which menu you're editing. Most sites will have menu automatically up here, as well as menu automatically down here. So whichever one you're editing is whichever one you're going to click on. And then you can go in and add menu items. Now, these are the two default menu items. I like to change catalog to shop, which takes them to all products. Now, if you have a ton of products, all products might not make sense for you. Like this site that I use, they don't have a place where you can shop all of their products because there's so many. It just wouldn't make sense. Users wouldn't be able to find their way about. So if you only have, I would say if you have under 50 products, then add a shop all button, right? But if you have really over that, it's really best to utilize some sort of collections. So this is actually where we're going to put those collections at. Now, let's see, dresses. And let's see, we only have this collection set up, so we're just going to choose that. You can actually set up a drop-down menu, much like this site. You see that it goes over clothing. It's going to take this drop-down menu. Just by dragging and dropping. So if you'll see some with this circle over here, it means it's not a drop-down menu. If you get it over to the edge, then it's going to just go straight under whichever one you have. Then if we click save real quick and go back to our shop page, we can see that that is now a drop-down menu that we're able to click on dresses. See. Oh, that collection is empty. So just 1 second. I did not actually set it up when we were over here. Let's give this collection a homepage. Let's see here. Of course, things are gonna, I promised you that this was super easy tech-wise, and now it's gonna go funky on me, isn't it? I think it's actually because, yeah. Let's remove this link. Okay, has to be it. Okay. Sorry. Let's just put it in the main navigation and see what we get now. Okay. I'm sorry, guys. I don't know why that's not working. Oh. Okay, hold on 1 second. I'm just gonna publish this thing instead because I'm more familiar with the debut thing. That is
the nice thing about this, Megan, is you might hit a stumble like that, but you haven't really broken anything that you can't go fix.
Right. Exactly. All right, I think there's something funny. So I think it might just be the fact that I'm trying to use the collection that's just the base Shopify collection. So let's just go in and add, let's create a collection. Let's give it dresses, make it automated, product type is equal to dress, and save, right? And then let's come over here, back to our navigation, and try to add that again. Collections. Yes. Okay. So I will say that Shopify is an ever-changing platform. They're constantly upgrading it. And the reason that I mention it is that it is not uncommon where something is not working the way you expect it to work. So if you see right here, the collection set up for dresses, or for that dresses, I actually go in and try to add a menu item and go to collections. Now it's popping up. So sometimes it takes a second, and then sometimes there's just bugs. Like when stuff isn't showing up the way it is, what's really great, or the way it's supposed to, what's really great about Shopify, and another reason that you want to use one of the Shopify themes, is that they have the most amazing support, and they can actually walk you through, why isn't my collection popping up? Like, why isn't when I click on it, why isn't it working? And there you go. So we have that collection that we actually set up ourselves. We added the navigation, and now it's working perfectly fine. So when we go to test, it's going to pull up these collections with all of the products that's in them. Of course, we only have a couple products in this shop, so it's nothing fancy right now. But you're able to, your users are able to sort it by various things. But this is where these collections go. So you actually set them up in your navigation. You can also set them up if you're editing your site. And just take you back to this customization. If there's ever a place where there's a button, Shopify gives you a bunch of options let's see, there's a button here, to link that button. So one of them is collections. So you could actually have like a section that's like, love summer? Great, check out, sorry, my spell checks. Check out these dresses and have now linking to your dress collection, right? So that's another use, but everything you're doing with these collection pages, these are preset up by your theme, so you don't have to worry about editing them or designing them. They're just there, and you can just link to them, whether it's in your nav, whether it's through buttons, and just easily navigate users through your shop and help them find exactly what it is that they're looking for. Let's see, do I have any other notes on that? That's about it. I mean, that's the basics to getting your shop set up. And so you can see if you just come through and you customize, just what's there, and you just put in your photos for all these different blocks, and you just go through, add your content, add your images. You can see how fast you can get a shop online with minimal effort, with no design experience. All you have to do is go and input these different places. Just go down the line. It's super easy. It's super intuitive what you're editing. Like you can see these 3 columns. It has a separate drop down for each of these 3 columns to put the content into. And then you just get those collections set up. And that's why I stressed it so much on the product, because the collections are where it is at. That is what makes the store. That's what makes it shoppable. That's what makes you able to say, hey, shop Nike, and they can click that button and see all your products that are Nike, right? So that's where that importance of organizing your products comes in, because that's what builds out these stores. Your homepage is such a small portion of what is going on in the background with your Shopify sites. So that being said, let's take a brief pause before we start getting into the back end of what it actually looks like for a customer to order, as well as managing those orders and how you're going to be able to fulfill them. So if there's any questions, feel free, like Linda said, if you want to unmute yourself, and please feel free, like whatever, if there's anything specific to your business that you have questions on, feel free to ask them. Like, what about this industry? And we're here to help. We're here to answer your questions, and we want you to walk away feeling confident in getting yourself online.
I know for me, when I was first starting my company, having pros I could go to at the SBDC was really a game changer for me. Can you talk, Megan, about the themes? I saw that some of them were $180. Is that a one-time price? Are they really, if the theme is right, is it really worth the additional money?
Yeah, so Shopify has about, I think it's about 16 free ones, and then they have those premium themes. It is a one-time fee, so you never have to pay that again, and it is an alternative and a cheaper option to a designer. So whether or not you want to pay for that is really a preference. On, some of those premium things can look a little bit more designed out than the free ones. Also, those free ones, you got to think about how many people are using those free Shopify themes. And so the premium ones can stand out a little bit more. But it's ultimately a preference, and like what do you like from a look standpoint? Because some of those free themes might be perfectly fine for your particular aesthetic. The premium ones are definitely more designed out, and they're more often than not designed with very specific aesthetics in mind. So if you want something really funky and fun, I actually have one in mind. We'll just check this out. So actually, this is something that I had a client use this as a base. Now we custom coded it out, but if you want something really funky, I thought this one was so cool. This is going to be it's very bright, it's very playful, it has all this fun interaction stuff. It just looks totally different. This one's geared towards food companies, but it's just way funkier than what you're going to get if you saw there's a little bit of motion going on here. Now this, I think, is actually a gift that they created, but there's these fonts, just different things about this that are a little bit more wild than the standard Shopify themes, but really it comes down to taste. And something to mention too is your Shopify site or your website in general, no matter if you're on Shopify or otherwise, is really like your storefront. And so if you think about what do you want people to feel and experience when they're walking up to your shop? If it's a brick and mortar, you should be thinking about your website and your web design in the same way. And so if you want it to be fun and bold, then you're going to find a theme that really embodies that and embodies what you want your brand to feel like. And sometimes a free theme will do that just fine, especially if it's a very minimal brand, because most of those free themes are a very minimal design. So if you want it minimal, clean, then you're probably going to be perfectly fine with those free brands. But if you want to evoke a particular emotion, then sometimes you can find a premium one that more speaks to that emotion. And then of course the other option is going full-blown custom and hiring a designer to actually build you your own custom template, but from a cost-effective side of things. These are two cost-effective options, an alternative to someone designing a site that's specific to your brand, which is very important if your brand is kind of the center. If you're talking about a boutique, their brand isn't the center more often than not. However, I have a client that sells custom jewelry to the likes of Beyonce, and they are their brand, like their name, that brand name that is associated with Beyonce and is associated with Lady Gaga is their brand. And so the importance of them having a customized site is essential for them to be able to control the look and feel and to be able to represent their brand well. So they would not benefit from a free theme. So it depends on how important your actual brand is and to your overall sales.
And in the beginning, Megan, you talked about the importance of photography and really quality images. So when people buy a theme, are all the images coming with that?
Typically no, and also typically I would not suggest using stock photography for an e-commerce site. I mean, some of the photos you'll see when you pull them over, some themes will include something. Most of them include like this stock image like this, right? That's like just a placeholder image.
Okay.
The reason I do not suggest using any imagery that's provided for them, unless it's like an icon or something like that, that's like, you know, like this shop icon. That's going to make sense no matter what company you are. But the reason I don't suggest it is because you want your own products to be in those photos. You know, talking about if this was a brick and mortar store, this is your front window. That's what your homepage is. And so you want to be featuring people wearing the clothes that you're trying to sell. And, you know, if we pull up this site right here, of course, every dress these girls have on is a Lilly Pulitzer dress. You know, you see the product photos right here. And so you want to make sure there's a lot of free stock photography sites out there. But for e-commerce sites, unless something, I struggle to even say that. Yeah, for the most part, you're going to want, like, so some e-commerce sites, this is a good example. Some just sell digital downloads. And so maybe in that site, you have use a free stock where someone's just looking at their phone. And then the blurb is, hey, download this thing, right? That's really the only time it makes sense for an e-commerce site to have stock photography. Because you really, like, as much as you can, you want to use it to sell your products. That's going to be what gets people to click through because they see that and they think, oh my gosh, I love those shorts, shop. So that's super important. That's why photography is so important and so much more important than it is for a service-based business, because that's what people have to go off. You know, they aren't in a store. They can't pick it up, try it on, see it. All they can do is see what it looks like in a photo. So.
Yeah, we haven't had any questions come in.
All right. Well, then we will move on into the orders. So something that is really great that I really like about Shopify is that you can also place orders directly from this. Now, I'll walk you through real quick. Well, I'll attempt to. If someone's coming through their site, of course, you know, they can order like this. They select their size, they select their color. That's apparently sold out. So let's put it back to here. And then they're given an option to add to cart, or if you have PayPal Quick Pay enabled, then, you know, different buttons depending on what you've set up in payments are going to show up here. So they can add to cart, view cart, and then of course ultimately checkout, right? Checkout isn't available because the store isn't live. So you aren't going to be able to let people check out until you've actually paid Shopify for their platform, for the use of using their platform. But we can set up a fake draft order. So another option, this especially comes in handy if you are a wholesaler who has people buy a lot in bulk. This is the biggest use of creating these custom orders, where you can actually just, let's see, add the order, and you can create this custom order for someone, or if you're taking an order over the phone, you can create this order right here for this person. You can see right here, California state tax. It's going to add it right there. Let's say we need to add shipping custom shipping or free shipping. Let's say free shipping for this custom order. You can get it all set up. You can select reserve items, which is really cool if they haven't like paid yet, but they're getting ready to pay. You can reserve those items. You can add a custom item. If you have, like, say you are an embroidery company and you have a set price on your site for, we'll embroider your name for $5, and someone calls and say, can you embroider my name and then also embroider a rose next to it? That would be a use case for how you would, use this custom item, custom price. You can mark it as paid, mark it as pending, but you can also email them their invoice after you've saved. Let's see how far it lets us go. Okay, so it's not going on the free plan, but you could email them the invoice. They would get it. They'd be able to pay their Shopify, and it would automatically mark as payment accepted. And then it's going to show up in your orders. Oh my gosh. Let's see. Dang it. Okay, I'm going to take you guys real quick. I'm going to take you guys to existing Shopify site so that we can kind of check out the back end of an orders. All right. All right, so when you have an order come in, it's gonna look like this. Now this is not an active store. So you have an order. They actually have an unfulfilled order. Well, it looks like it was refunded due to, now here's something that Shopify will do. It will actually give you a high risk of fraud detected. This is often happens if like someone didn't put their zip code in correctly, or like they failed their credit card too many times, and they ultimately give you the choice as to whether or not you want to fill this order. But it will, let you know. And then if they never put in their zip code, it will automatically decline their card, just like normal. But if there's anything funky that they see going on, they're going to warn you. And then you ultimately have the choice to refund the order at no cost to you, or have the choice to accept it. So just from the back end of an order, you have an order come in, it's marked as unfilled. You can see right here. Now this is a little funky. I was hoping that the free trial would let me show you guys a fake order. But you have, okay, this one's unfilled. You can see right here, I need to come in and send this. So right here, you just create your shipping label right here. It walks you through, it's gonna let you put in all the information. It automatically pulls, customs information is completed, and it's an international order. So this isn't a very good example, but that shipping label will automatically walk you through anything it needs in order to purchase that stamp. And then once you have a shipping label created, so let's go to an older order that's created one, then you can actually print that shipping label. Sorry, this is an old account, so it's not showing as clearly as it normally would. But more or less, it's going to show right there within your orders that, one, it's unfulfilled. The second you click that add shipping, it's going to pull up a shipping split that you can print. and either tape to your order, or if you have like an actual shipping label printer, like a Dymo or something like that, that can print those sticky labels, you can print those through Shopify, hook that up, and stick them directly on your package. But it's all totally done for you. It calculates by weight, or if you have a set fixed shipping, it will just charge them that. And then it also takes care of the tracking. And so that is available to you. That shipping label is going to be available to you up until the point that you fulfill the order, and it has been, once you've fulfilled it, you'll see tracking information there, and you'll be able to click through so that, you know, if a customer calls you and says, hey, I haven't seen this come through, you'll be able to track that with them. And then and then as soon as that order has shown that is delivered, then you will no longer have access to that shipping label. Or once the post office scans it, and that's when it doesn't let you see that shipping label anymore, because it sees that it's already been used, and so it marks it as used. And so the orders panel, and I probably clicked out of that too soon, because this is also where you're going to go if you need to. Let's see. I think this test site might have some test orders on it. Okay, we'll just. This is where you're going to go if you need to return something, if you need to cancel an order, if you need to, you can leave comments to your staff members here. If like, hey, I started packaging this, I didn't get it shipped out the door. So there's a bunch of different things you can see here. You can see your customer information. There's a phone number. If there's an issue with the order, you can call them. You can email them. There's often an email that shows up here. Of course, this doesn't have shipping on it, so there's no shipping here. But everything that you could need, you have your refund, you can print your order form if you want to include that in your packaging. You can also print a packaging slip. You can edit orders. Create a return label. So if someone needs to return something, then that's all done within this order. And you know, that's really about it. But everything that you would need to deal with an order is going to be within that orders panel. So I wish I had more access to actually get in and show you some example orders, but that's the basics of what is available there. So the whole fulfillment process is done through there, and the second it's fulfilled, then you can easily mark it as fulfilled, and so that, you know, nothing accidentally gets double sent. You know, if you have multiple staff members, the second it's fulfilled, you know it's fulfilled. Or the second you order a shipping label, it's not going to let you go in and order another shipping label. So it prevents you from accidentally, you know, sending something out twice, or but purchasing shipping twice unintentionally. The other thing I want to talk about real quick, as it relates to orders and just your shop in general, is your discounts. So Shopify automatically has this discount, discounts available within Shopify, and there's a ton of different ways you can set this up. So when you create a new discount, first off, you can do a regular discount code, which is like how you've seen before, where you give someone a specific code, they are able to type it in, and it gives them a percentage off or some other discount. It also has the ability for automatic discount codes. So if you're running a special that's like all t-shirts are 10% off right now, then that's something you can actually come in here and say t-shirts 10% off. You can say it's a percentage. These are the different types of discounts that are native to Shopify. You can get apps that will allow you for more robust functionalities with discounts, but I found that the out-of-the-box options with Shopify are pretty extensive. So you can do, of course, a percentage discount, you can do a fixed amount, a buy X, get Y, and depending on what you select, you're gonna get different options down here. So you can actually get as specific to say, hey, I want 10% off. Rather than saying entire order, you can say, I only want to use specific products. So I will only want to do it on the Nadine dress. That one's 10% off this week, nothing else. You can also do it by collection. So you can say anything in the dresses collection is 10%, it's on sale. That's another use of collections, is to set up sales. Like, hey, summer sale, like throw that all into a collection, and then give that collection a discount value. Buy X, get Y is gonna be like, hey, if you buy 5 specific products, then you get another specific product. This is what I mentioned before, and that this can be a really good use case for a gift card. You can also do it by minimum purchase amount. So you can say minimum purchase amount of 500, and if you want it to be all, then you're gonna select. You actually won't select anything here, you'll just leave this blank. And then you can actually set up, hey, they'll get one, of course we don't have a gift card populated here, but you can say they'll get one discount or gift card for free. And then you can also set your active dates of the discount. So if you want a discount to end on a certain day, you don't have to worry about coming in and turning it off. It will end automatically for you. So these are these both look the same, so the standard and the automatic discounts. The difference is that your standard discounts, there's not an automatic discount for free shipping. So if you want to do a free shipping special, then you would need to set up an actual free shipping code. But the only difference between these two otherwise is the fact that automatic discounts, you don't need a code. It's going to automatically be applied. Whereas discount codes, they're going to actually need a code. There's a few things you can do with these codes. You can put minimum requirements, so like they have to have a minimum purchase amount, minimum quantity of items, but you can also do customer eligibility. So either specific groups of customers, which you can actually, just like you can tag products, you can tag customers. So you might set up customer tags and have certain customers get a discount, as well as specific customers, but what gets used even more, because normally this is everyone, what gets used the most is this usage limits. So limit the number of times the discount can be used in total. This is a good use case for marketing of like, first 25 people to purchase today get 10% off their order. Then you can say, hey, only let 25 people use this. And then you can also do limit to 1 use per customer. And so that means that, you know, that's when you get like the 10% off for giving me your email. You only get to use that once. And so that's associated with your email. It says, hey, this email has already used this 10% off, and it's going to stop it after that. It's going to allow it to do that 10% and then be done. And then you can set up your active dates, and that's it. So I love that this discount, this marketing ability is built in direct to Shopify, because it makes things super easy. And I found that their discount codes and is extremely flexible, which is great. All right, any questions before we get into actually taking our site online?
We will give people a minute to type a question if they have one. And I would like to hear your opinion on free shipping, when to do it. What do you advise your clients to do? Because I know a lot of people feel like they're competing with Amazon, but at the same time, you know, some people have a buy this much and get free shipping. So what's your feeling on that, Megan?
Yeah, I often say, think about your margin. the first thing you're going to want to do is run an actual cost analysis on it. And so if you are selling a necklace for $5 and you're running free shipping on that, and the shipping's, you know, $2, well, you sold it for $5, but it probably cost you maybe $3, and then you spent $2 on shipping. Well, you just made $0. So that's the very first thing, is you want to make sure you're actually making money. And that's why a lot of those stores say, hey, free shipping over $100. That's because you get the margin from all of those, and you know, you're just sending one bag. For all $100 worth of stuff, you're sending one bag, and so you only pay shipping, you know, $5 in shipping. For that 100, well, you have margin on all 100 of those products. So, you know, taking a $5 hit isn't that big of a deal. It's also a really great way to get people to spend $100. Because I know I am like this, and a lot of people are. That's why these exist, is that I'll get to $80 and think, oh gosh, I gotta find something else for $20, or I'll get to, you know, 97 and be like, I have to buy one more thing because I need to get over the 100 so that I can get the free shipping. So it's definitely, which, you know, now that I'm saying that out loud, I'm like, that is crazy that I do that, because I end up spending more money when the shipping would only be $5, but I do it, and a lot of people do. So that's why it's sort of up that way, because of human psychology, like wanting to get that free thing. So I highly suggest that. I just definitely make sure you do a cost analysis, and that you know what, you know, whether that's $100, over 100, or over 50, or whatever that number is. Just make sure that you have enough margin in your pieces to cover that shipping, and it's not gonna, you know, begin to hurt you, because as much as people are competing against Amazon, Amazon obviously gets a lot of sales. However, they don't get all the sales. You know, I don't buy clothes off Amazon, period, end of story. There's a lot of stuff that I won't buy on Amazon, and a lot of stuff that I will go direct to vendor for, like even things like calendars, right? Amazon sells calendars. I could probably find a perfectly good calendar that I like, but I like a particular brand, and so I go directly to that brand's website for their calendar, and I'm willing and used to paying the shipping. So you know, people aren't totally turned off by shipping. So it's not as big of a deterrent as some might assume it is, with people getting more used to Amazon. You know, of course, if you're Amazon's direct competitor like Walmart, now Walmart should be afraid about Amazon's shipping policies, but that's typically not the case for us smaller brands. People are normally on our site because they want to be buying from us. And they're still very much used to having to pay for shipping when they're on an individual site, because, you know, even Old Navy and those big retailers, Ulta, they're still charging shipping if it's under a certain number. And so I highly suggest free shipping and utilize that higher number to get people to, you know, just push up their purchase costs.
I think it's also funny to often remind people that Amazon's website says free shipping, but it's not free because you paid for the shipping with your annual membership.
Yes, right.
We have not had any questions come in, but we have people listening intently. So we love what you're sharing, Megan. This is really helpful. Thank you.
All right, well, I will keep on going then. We are going to dive quickly into launching our site. And then I think we have a little bit of time to just hit a couple other things I wasn't sure we would have time to hit. So launching your site is going to be plain and simple. When you are on here, we'll go back to this online store. Oh, actually, it's just right here. Sorry. The Zoom is in my way. I can't actually see it. Hold on, let me see if I can't move this little Zoom screen. There we go. You'll see this, you have 13 days left in your trial period. Whenever you're ready to go live, all you're going to do is click select a plan. It's as easy as that, and then go to choose a plan. Now, again, I'm not going to walk through this whole process, It's pretty straightforward. You're just going to choose a plan, choose how you want to pay for it. They're going to ask for your information, and they're going to say, yay, fantastic, you have a plan now. Now, like I said, these plans do come with custom domains. Sometimes it will prompt you in this process to go ahead and get your free domain. Other times you're going to have to come back to this online store and go to domains, and then there's often like get your free domain. I think it normally says it up here. Yeah, anyways, and so I'm actually going to make sure I'm not giving you old information, because it's been a minute since I got a domain with okay. It actually looks like they discontinued that. I'm glad I had that thought, but it looks like you no longer get a free domain with your Shopify site. However, you can purchase your domain directly through right here and clicking buy new domain. That kind of stinks that they aren't doing that anymore. That is a new change. They've had a lot of new changes lately, which is why I thought, oh, I wonder if they're still doing that. So if you have an existing domain that you've already purchased on a domain host such as GoDaddy or Namecheap or Bluehost, then you can connect that here. It will kind of walk you through that process. And also, whoever hosts your domain, their staff, their customer service can usually walk you through this, because it can be a little bit more technical. And so if this is something that you have an existing domain and you can't figure out how to get it connected, Shopify might be able to help some, but really whoever is hosting your domain is going to be able to help the most. And so I would go to them first. Otherwise, you can actually buy your new domain directly through here. You know, domains are typically somewhere between, I know GoDaddy will have them, and sites like that will often have them cheaper for the first year, and then it'll like jump up to $21 a year the second year. But generally domains are somewhere between $8 to $21 for a domain that's not in high demand. Of course, if you want a domain that is in high demand, like I don't even know that it'll show up here. I'm not going to be able to find one. Some domains are in high demand or are already being resold, and those can sell for as much as $10,000, but if not more. I think Google lost their domain at one point and had to pay a pretty penny to get it back. You know, typically you're gonna, you know, find a domain that's in that cheaper price point, and that is a yearly cost. So it's a very nominal fee that you only have to pay once a year. So it's not too bad. So you're gonna want to hook up your custom domain to this so that you can actually have like a professional .com website. I highly suggest using that over your temporary domain, because of that user trust that comes with that permanent domain, and just the professionalism that comes across. Users are really, it's just a better user experience to see, you know, that yourbrandname.com and ups the trust factor. So that's, once you have that domain set, Shopify will allow you to make that your primary domain so that people can actually visit your site from that domain. So once you've selected your plan, added your domain, then you're live, and that's really all you have to do. I say that, and I just thought of one other thing. The one thing you will want to do is, you know, go back into your settings, go back to your payments, and make sure that your payments are all set up, and that your this, again, I mentioned this likely might be on testing. You're going to want to make sure testing is turned off so that people can actually make real life payments. then you're ready to go, and people are ready and able to actually go on your site and buy things.
Megan, when you are in testing mode, can you go through and test a credit card just to make sure it's working correctly?
Yep. Yeah, and when you're in testing mode, it will have like information on how to do a test order. I believe you have to use a certain credit card number that they give you. I'm not 100% positive. It's been a minute since I've done a test order. So you can go in and once you're on and you want to do a test before you start giving people your URL, you can certainly go in and just make sure everything's working, and you can see an order pop in on the other side so that you can actually see what that looks like, and all of that. But yeah, so that's what it's for, so that you can actually go in and test without buying something. Another thing, and what I often do instead, is I will create a discount code that makes it $0, and I'll go through the checkout process that way as well, which effectively gets you.
Tara Rita has a question. It's if you have a domain hosted someplace else, can you use it here?
Yes. Yes, assuming that you're not using it somewhere else, right? Because the domain is, it's kind of like, I don't know, GPS coordinates, right? And so you have GPS coordinates, and you point that domain and you say, this is where I want you to point to. And so you can, if it's not already pointed to a website that's existing, then you can point it here. If it is, then you just need to decide if you want to get a new domain for your new Shopify site, or if you want to ditch whatever site it's currently pointing to and use it for this this website. Yeah, if that helps.
Great.
I hope that was clear. If it wasn't clear, let me know.
I think we're good.
All right. All right. Well, then I'm just going to go over some extra little things real quick, just to show you, like, guys, the power of Shopify and all the cool things it has to offer. So the first I want to show you is these analytics. Now, since this is not a live site, they're going to look really sad, but you can see your online store sessions. You can see your total sales. You can run various reports on your sales. There's just tons of different analytics and reports, and you can see a live view to see, oh, who's actually on your site. This one's really fun. And where are they in the world? So it'll actually ping. Look at that. And show you, like, there's no visitors right now, but if I can show you, let me see if I can get it to, let's open up an incognito. Well, okay, my shortcuts aren't working. Anyways, you can see that. You can also see who, a live sale, which is really fun. There is a lot of, conversion rates. So that's how many people who are landing on your site are actually purchasing. There's a ton of data that you can use to begin to just optimize your website and make different decisions. If you are seeing that your average order value is like really low, then you might want to think about, okay, how can we, from a marketing standpoint, get that average order value up? If you are seeing that, actually this happened to a client before. They saw that, like, their online store sessions by location, like, they were in the United States, but they had a ton of Australia people, like, showing up to their shop. So, that can, one, ask the question, where are all these people from Australia coming from? But also inform your advertising, like, oh, maybe you're a swimsuit shop, and people from Australia just need swimsuits more often. And so, like, informing your advertising and saying, oh, we're actually going to push ads, maybe Facebook ads, Google ads, that target Australians, because Australians seem to really like our products. So there's a lot of data that you can really use to leverage your marketing around. The other thing that I love so much about Shopify is, where's it going to be? Orders. abandoned checkouts. So if someone, and I'm sure you've gotten one of these emails, if someone is checking out and they have gotten to the point where they put their email in and then they don't finish, you know. And so you're able actually to retarget those, and you can actually set up automatic emails within Shopify. And you can put rules around it, like every 24 hours after they abandon, or 1 hour after they abandon. I think the typical is actually 1 hour, because within that 1 hour period, they're still really hot and they're still, reminding them. It's going to be like, oh yeah, I forgot, I was just doing that. And so you can actually send them an email like, hey, did you forget something? And you can customize that within Shopify, what that says. And so then Shopify just goes and does it for you, and it can increase your sales by like drastically. You can decrease your abandoned checkouts by like 50% just by implementing that. Like I often have clients increase their decrease their abandoned checkouts, so people actually come back and finish their purchase like 30 to 50% who implement that. So that's just a really cool marketing thing that I think Shopify does really well, and is definitely a standout feature of Shopify. Let's see. All right, we only have a couple more minutes left. So if there's any questions, feel free to put them in the chat right now. I will try to touch on them real quick. The last thing I want to show you real quick before we go is the App Store. Just to show you that it exists. This is something you can browse by yourself. But this is like the unlimited customizations and abilities that you have within Shopify is crazy. So you have you can actually use an app to put all your products on Walmart's marketplace. Like you don't even have to do the extra step to do that. Like Shopify will do that for you. It used to do it with Facebook as well, but with the new implementation with Facebook Shops, I'm not certain that they still talk to each other. It might take some time for Shopify and Facebook to be friends again. Let's see, you can do like a personal discount if you want people, like if you get the 10% and you want it to be a unique code that's only for them. There's all kinds of different interactions. You have communicating like a messenger channel, those chatbots I'm talking about. You can reserve in store. You can, enable these different kind of things, or like layaway. I'm sure there's an app for layaway. Inventory management, if you want to sync inventory with a brick and mortar, all of those kind of things. So there is like an app for literally anything. Now, more often than not, those apps are an additional monthly fee, but there is just crazy amounts of things. If you can think about it, there's probably an app for it, which is really makes Shopify super unique and really awesome. So that's about it. I mean, that is the intro to Shopify. Again, you're going to get this recording. So if you want to go through and walk through and actually set up your site with it, if you need refreshers as you're setting up a Shopify site, this is going to be available to you. Linda, do you know approximately when they will send those out?
There's a couple things that will go out. Well, it's probably all encapsulated in the same email, but in a couple days, Emily will send out the video recording so people can watch it again. And with that will also be a survey, which we highly encourage people to fill out for us, because these programs are being paid for by your tax dollars, and we need to prove to the people that have so kindly invested in this program how we are using our funds and that you're getting the value out of it. So it'll probably be about, let's see, we're on Tuesday, by the end of the week, I would say, Megan, probably Thursday or Friday.
Awesome. Yep. So this will be coming to you. And, the last thing I want to touch on is that we are here for you. Linda mentioned it at the beginning that we do offer advising that's of no cost for you. And so if you get into this and you just need some extra help, give us a call. This is our contact information right here. Now, the one thing that I will say is that before I get off, I don't want to leave you without saying there's a lot of people who think if we build it, they will come, right? That is not the case with e-commerce. That is like a big old fat lie. If they build it, if you build it, they will not come unless you tell them to come. And so if you're looking to get into e-commerce, I would highly suggest reaching out to us so that we can actually help you with a marketing and business plan, so that we can help you strategize how are you going to even get people onto your shop. And again, that's at no cost to you. So why not come utilize us? You know, I'm here for you. I'm one of the SBDC advisors. And so you can talk with me directly. We also have a number of other advisors who are just brilliant and would be happy to help you with marketing plan around your new website.
Yes, and I have watched Megan do other marketing presentations, and I have to tell you, she is speaking from experience. So when you can have someone walk you through these uncharted waters for yourself, and they've already been there, and actually she lives in this mode. So this is not, it's not frustrating to her. She knows how to do it. And as SBDC advisors, she is here to help you through that. So please don't hesitate to reach out. There is Emily's email, and there's the website if you'd like to learn more about our SBDC. And please, I encourage you to reach out. There are quite a few different advisors. So maybe if this topic, you know, you might feel, gosh, I haven't even started a business yet. Well, you know what? We have advisors for that too. So do reach out to Emily and let her know what you're doing. And she would be happy to connect you with the right people to help move you forward. And I really encourage you to reach out to Megan. And thank you for all of you that stayed through the entire program. There's a lot of information here, and it's so valuable. And thank you, Megan. This has been really helpful.
All right, well, I'll let you guys go, and I hope you guys have a great evening.
Thanks, everybody. We will see you next time.